right now, we're going to talk today about digital opportunities and digital tools that will help you to expand your business in now and in you know, like in times like this, and also in regular times. And I think a lot of the digital tools that have come around are here to stay, and a lot of digital opportunities are here to stay. Obviously, COVID-19 is continuing to alter the way we do business with our design clients, right? You have to shift to some online design consultations. You have to offer new things. So we're going to talk to you guys about what you're doing there. This panel will be sharing your successes and challenges of bringing those virtual elements into your design businesses. You know, what do you need? What do you do? And what kind of advice can you give to our audience? Before we introduce our panelists, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Crestview Collection, Temple Furniture, and International Market Centers. We appreciate you all supporting think tanks, and we also appreciate, you know, you guys attending our panels. But now let's meet today's panelists. We have Wendy Yates, the founder of Abigail-Elise Design Studio, Tana Edler, founder of Tana by Design, and Erin Valencic, founder of Erin V Design Group, Erin V, and the creator and founder of Style Row. Welcome, and thank you so much for being here, ladies.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
Great. So where I'd like to start is for have you guys tell us a little bit about your businesses, kind of where you got your start and how you've shifted over these last couple of years, or even this last year. Tana, let's start with you.
Sure. I'm Tana Edler, founder and CEO of Tana by Design, and we are located in Washington State. So over the past 10 plus years, I've serviced the Pacific Northwest. But as of 2020 and the changes with COVID, we now do local and virtual design. So we are reaching across the states now. A little bit about what we did, and I'm sure we'll talk more during the hour, but we took a big pivot dance, if you will. At the beginning of COVID, we were already entertaining the ideas of branding and maybe changing the way we were doing business. And this just elevated and made us spring into action. So we have a third arm now. We do full service consultations and virtual, and we have been swamped with virtual. So I'm excited to talk today about some of the successes and challenges.
Okay, that's great. Wendy, tell us a little bit about Abigail-Elise Design.
Yeah, so my name is Wendy, obviously, and Abigail-Elise Design Studio is based in the US in Colorado, and we were actually virtual prior to COVID. A couple of years ago, I set up virtual offices because I wanted to implement my lifestyle for my team members and my employees so that they could have a culture rooted in value and live the lifestyle that they wanted, and it was more about the talent. And so we did have some COVID challenges, of course, but we were set up to have virtual offices. Our team members are located across the globe, some even into the Dominican and Mexico. And so for us, some of the challenges were just some bigger projects, more in the commercial space getting put on hold, obviously restaurant type projects. We typically work with developers as sort of our main clientele. We do work in luxury home markets directly with clients as well. But for us, you know, things sort of, the most effect that it had for us on our virtual side was just some of those larger things, those larger sort of big dollar projects sort of coming to a little bit of a slowdown just because restaurants were closing and they were a lot in the market. But we definitely have, we pivoted to virtual before, again, just to have a different lifestyle within our company culture. And I feel like with 2020, it's becoming more and more acceptable. You know, we used to get a little bit of a pushback before, like, oh, well, how can you do this project in, you know, Florida when you're in Colorado? And for us, because we live in a tourist community anyway, we were kind of working with people virtually. And so it sort of segued for us naturally before, but now the benefit has been, you know, as Tana indicated, that like, it's just more acceptable because it's sort of become a normal and people understand that you can make things happen just as smoothly virtually as being in person. So.
That's wonderful. And Erin, tell us a little bit about you, because not only do you have a design business, you also have a product design business, and you also have an amazing tool for to help designers working online and working in general.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started my firm, R&V Design Group, about 16 years ago, based here in Los Angeles, but we've done projects all around the country, from hotels in Vegas to, projects in Cabo, New York, Denver, etc. Mostly high-end residential, but again, all real, first homes all the way up to big spec homes I've done as a developer and as a designer. I've had a furniture line for about 13 years as well, based here in LA. Grew up in my grandfather's wood shop in Northern California, and I was making Barbie sofas out of scrap wood when I was a kid. So when I started designing for clients, it was very natural for me to start designing product and having things made, which turned into a line. I have about 8 licensed product collections as well. So a hardware line with Baldwin called Hollywood Hills by R&V. We're launching 2 furniture lines at market. You'll see next year. I have a rug line with Creative Touch that's at market, working on one with Maribon, etc. So lots of product development. And then, yes, I have now built a software company for the design industry called Style Row. So on one side of it, it is software for designers to be able to present to clients better. Like, how can you get your product in front of them faster so that they can approve, and then have better transparency and workflow for your entire design team, as well as coordinating with your vendors and whatnot. And then the other side of it is a marketplace for furnishings. So we started with bringing all the luxury high-end brands, like all the design center brands, onto one platform. So as a designer, you could just drag and drop that product into your presentation, put it in front of your client, and then ultimately be able to track all your orders more seamlessly. So cutting out the boring back end of cutting and pasting and hunting and spreadsheets and all the nightmare that we all have to do, because I was doing that as a designer and doing the same thing as a furniture brand. And I was kind of like, this is ludicrous. Like, why are we wasting so much time on this back end stuff when technology could streamline that? So this is quite a hot topic for us.
Oh, I'm sure. So staying with you, tell me a little bit about like when you decided, when you rolled out Style Row and this tools, and how has COVID impacted the value of Style Row and the acceptance of Style Row? I imagine it's really amped it up just a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, we've been seeing a shift to more digital, right, in the last many years, as everyone has in all parts of your life. And I think in our work life, we've been one of the slowest and last to hold out industries to kind of get more digitally savvy. But I started conceptualizing Style Row in 2016. I went on the hunt for technology as a designer to streamline our business. I'm like, we have 300 orders to track and 4 financial transactions for every order, and all of these emails and communications everywhere. I'm like, clients are texting, clients are emailing, clients are now WhatsApping us, they're on Instagram. There's so many places for your project to kind of have information these days. So back then I wanted to start streamlining so that we'd have one place to look for answers as a design team. And at the same time, I was having the same issues as a furniture brand where we were in 5 or 6 pieces of software. So I think COVID has just sped up the adoption to more digital tools, or should I say better digital tools. Like, we're all in software all day for every part of our life, and an app for everything in our personal life, from ordering food to groceries to, literally everything we do. And yet for our work life, no one had built new technology for us in like 30 years. I mean, email was not built for project management, order management, yet that's what we're using it for, right? And so that was it was really just to solve my own pain points. I was like, this is ludicrous. Like, I'd been in business for 12 years at that point. I was like, how is this getting harder? And I said, I want to just be able to access product information any time of day, morning, noon, and night. I don't want to have to call a human between 9 and 5, Monday through Friday, to ask for a price. Like, this is insane. And then you see trends in, the design office. Millennials are going to be 75% of our design office by 2025. In a few short years, like, they will not fax back credit card authorization forms. Like, you're born with a phone in your hand. You can get anything and answer to anything at the speed of light. And yet then we expect them to wait 3 days for a quote on a piece of furniture. Like, no. And then you're looking at it from the client side, which is what I take into consideration the most. Our clients are getting younger, right? Millennials are now the largest buying group. It's only going to continue that our clients become increasingly digitally savvy as they continue to mature and have more and more and more buying power. They start hiring designers and buy bigger and bigger houses, right? And so our clients are going to be getting younger. So if we're thinking about how can we revolutionize our work for ourselves to be more profitable as a business? That's super important. But how can you make your client happier interacting with your design firm? How can you make it easier on your client to approve all of these orders and to track their projects? I mean, I've had clients for years be like, we love our house, we love what you've done, but my God, that was a real pain in the ass. You know, like the whole process is just a disaster.
Right.
No matter how you skin it, it's just hard. There's so many humans, construction, there's bids, there's quotes, they're getting 500 emails with links to things. They send you huge checks for stuff. And then they're like, when is it coming? What's happening? Like, think about being a client and being on the receiving end of that, having no visibility into your project. Designer comes and presents, then you take everything back to your office. Like, we know what's going on, but they don't. And also sharing, right? People love to share. Instagram has become the new advertising method along with Facebook. But how can your client share your project, their project, with their friends to get you more work? As a designer, you know, when we take away our presentations from them, I mean, they're not going to forward their friend a PDF and be like, oh, you should hire her, she's great. So thinking about it that way, like 5 steps ahead, how can we build better tools for designers to share faster with their clients and leverage that client for more referrals, because we're all referral-based businesses for the most part. So in a nutshell, that's what we're taking on as a challenge with Style Row.
That's great. Wendy, let's talk about that with you as well. So you said you've gone online for a work-life balance, you know, for the people who work with you as well. How has that helped your clients, and how do you keep that? How do you keep everything organized, and have you seen it enhance your business?
So the answer is we don't keep everything organized. Exactly what Erin's point is. It's a ton of spreadsheets. And I was actually just complaining about this today because we're always behind on invoicing, right? Because the software that is available or has been available isn't so intuitive to have the presentation and and I am looking forward to checking out the Style Row software because I have not had an opportunity to do that. So I'm super excited to be here and learn more about that today. But to date, you know, it's the same thing. It's a PowerPoint, it's a SketchUp, it's a Lumion or a CAD drawing or whatever, and that's over here, and you're presenting it this way, and then you have a pile of stuff that you're shipping to people, you know, that you try to wrap chocolate and bows on so they can like understand like how to look at the color palette fabrics or whatever it is. And so it's definitely totally agree. It's always been a challenge, but I think for us too, because we kind of started in the luxury home, second home market when I first founded my company, people were accustomed to kind of mailing things back and forth, but it is, you do sort of lose that transparency a little bit, or that excitement with your client of what's going on with the project, or, you know, how are we meeting our deliverables, because you're constantly have to remember to follow up, and then they don't understand how to read their statement. So you wind up putting it in a spreadsheet because the spreadsheet makes sense to them. And then internally we're like, well, what are we using to track our finances, the spreadsheet or the software? So it's definitely, that's always been a challenge even before we started working virtually. But, you know, we used other tools, but you know, like spreadsheets have been king for a while, but they're definitely old and dated. And, you know, my daughter's 15 and she does, you know, anytime I say anything about having her help me with a spreadsheet, she kind of just rolls her eyes like, there's a better way. There's gotta be a better way, Mom. Like, I'm not gonna go into this world. So, so yeah, I think that, sorry if I didn't answer the question because I was so into hearing what Erin said about the technology that I was like still thinking about that. I'm like, yeah, I'm like, we need to move over to something like that to make our life so much easier. But so yeah, I'm sorry I missed the question.
No, but you did answer the question, because part of the question was, how do you keep yourself organized when you're dealing with all these clients online and everything is taken virtually? So it's making it a little challenging. And by the way, we do have a question. The name of that software is Style Row. So just so you have it, and we'll say that again a couple times so everybody has that. So Tana, I'm going to ask you the same question, because you started out, you just went virtual recently. You changed everything. First, you went virtual with all of your processes, and then you went virtual with your clients. So talk a little bit about what you've done, how your clients have accepted that, and how you keep yourself organized.
Okay, sounds good. First, I feel like Wendy and I want to just jump down in Erin's box and just start chatting. I was the same, like, wow. So let me start kind of from the beginning, I guess, in a nutshell. The beginning of the year, we decided to streamline everything. So we were kind of flirting with the idea of rebranding, looking at website and such. And so just ironically, when this COVID time happened, everything that I had on sticky notes and Cinopads and wherever else, all the dreams that I wanted to do, we had all this time to do it. So we sat down and started streamlining and deciding what this looked like. And that's where our branding Live Easy came from, because similar to what Wendy was saying about lifestyle, we, myself included, wanted to just have the experience, you know, enjoy the experience. And we were getting caught up in all the things that Erin was saying that, you know, we're all over the place. So with that Live Easy brand, we just started, we do have a workflow software. We do have a CRM. We brought on rendering softwares. We just did about, and that's, when I say us, that's me, about everything we could. And then I became very excited. And so that's when the virtual arm reared its wonderful head. And I started to hire virtual assistants, not realizing that's something I could do. And thought, wow, why don't I take this a step farther? Now I've done everything in-house for me. Now, like Erin was saying, let's look at the client side. So I didn't think it would be possible. And we just put a quote on our blog that goes tomorrow that now we're killing it. I mean, who would have known? I would have never thought that we'd be reaching virtual all the way across to New York and such. But then we did the virtual design consultation that turned into the virtual room guide. Now it's the virtual conceptual design. Now we're doing concepts for both residential and commercial, preliminary stage. So it just kind of, you know, blew up. The one, I guess, hurdle, I guess, challenge was when we first started, even for ourselves to step out of the way of, was how will we convince, I guess, how will we educate? We are so used to local design, in person, face to face. That's where I do my best. And we really had to get our head around that. And we start, you know, looking at, well, what do you do best? It's the experience. Everything that you offer your client is the experience. So if they don't adopt that or trust in the experience, and you haven't done your job. So that's where we kind of really dug in and put all our tools, all of our craft together so that we do reach those virtual clients, it would work. And
how have your clients accepted? How have your clients accepted this new process?
Again, maybe the precise time, and timing is everything, but we do so much over Zoom, and it's so accepted now in the virtual community, and virtual nuances, I guess, are so accepted that it's, I guess, timing is everything. It's been going really well.
That's great. Wendy, how about you? Are you seeing that your clients are accepting of the online experience as well?
Yeah, like I said, we have been operating sort of that way for a number of years, but it has become more accepted and a little bit easier for those, particularly like we've been working on growing more globally, so internationally. So, you know, having people in other countries really, you know, accept this new way. Like, I feel like for us, it was a little bit, even prior to COVID, because of our just demographic of the second or third homeowners, they were accustomed to not living where they were building or where they were buying in the development. But definitely the acceptance level and the people just sort of like being like, well, this is just the new way to do business, you know, and I can, you know, get all these, the same experience I can get by speaking like how we are speaking, the same as if I would sitting across from the table. And I think it goes back to having those systems in place, and you know, sort of getting really organized to streamline your processes is really important in moving forward into collecting, you know, building more business in this new virtual world. But yeah, the acceptance, I think, and the more international work has been a little bit easier to close, because it is just more widely global now, not just, you know, something that one little part of the world's dealing with. It's like everybody's doing it this way.
Erin, I have a question for you from one of our audience members. She's asking, and I'm asking you because I think Style Row is a really helpful tool for this. She's asking how you get your collaborators to keep them feeling like they're part of the team, and how do you track their time? Like, so if you're working with other, like, I guess, and Tana, this may, well, this would affect all of you actually. How do you keep track of the people you're working with, and how do you make sure that you all feel like a team, I think is what the question is.
Well, I think, we hear a lot about transparency in the industry. I think, especially on the brand side, like being more transparent with pricing and such with your customers. But I think what it really comes down to is transparency among teams around workflow. Like the amount of questions that I have to ask my own team, even when we're all in the office together, because our project data is not all in one place. Meaning, did you email them? Did they reply? What did she say? Did she get back to you? Did they send you the tracking number? Who sent the tracking number? Who did we send the order to? The amount of questions are insane because we're all in email, right? All day long for everything, for all of our communications, yet I can't see into their email. I don't know who they emailed. I don't know if the person got back to them. So Style Rose projects are built so that your team can collectively all put relevant project information in one place, use the status tool, it's all updated. So I can just go look. I don't have to waste my time writing her an email with 20 questions that she has to waste her time responding to my email with 20 questions. If she's done the work, I should just be able to go and log in and look, right? So it's built that way. Also for a digital library for your teams, whereas it's not just, my iPhone with 30,000 photos of stuff I want to sell to clients because I go to the trade shows, I take all these pictures of beautiful product. My team wasn't there with me. They don't know what showroom I took those photos in. So it's about building a repeatable process for your design firm that offers your whole team more transparency, right? So now I can upload all my pictures to StyleRow, to our digital library. I can tag it by showroom, by brand, by type of product. And my whole team, when they need to source lighting, they just go into our library, hit lighting, and it's all broken down for them. They can pull product from around the web. They can pull product from our marketplace, of course. You can put anything into your own personal digital library, but it's a team tool. It's built for that. It's not built as an individual tool that then I have to share with you and you and you, right? So it also helps with new team onboarding. I mean, when a new designer comes into your firm, they have no idea where you like to shop, what your aesthetic is, what brands you like. And so by putting all that work into one place, you're building a repeatable process for your team that continually saves all of your team members time, which equals more profitability as a designer. I think most of us don't really analyze the amount of time we truly spend on projects. Tracking your hours to build your client is like a whole separate thing than what you're actually spending time. Like how long does it take you to get an answer to a simple question? It often takes 15 minutes to answer one little question because you're digging through email, you're going through your text, you're going through your Instagram messages, you're going onto Pinterest, you're looking in the Excel, you're looking in the emails. It's a nightmare. So that's the core of StyleRow is transparency for teams. And it's like if you put the work in one place, everyone can access it, and your whole team can work faster and will feel more connected than just emailing each other all day long.
Okay, that's great. And Tana, so you recently went to all virtual assistants and all virtual help. How do you communicate with those people so that everybody's on the same page all the time?
Same. So we do have a workflow software that does all that, and we try to keep everything, all communication within that. It's a training, it's an education process because I still get, bing, Instagram, email, but it's a training process. But that's what we're doing. So we're putting everything, all edits, all picture, anything you name it, it goes in there, all communication. So that's what we're working towards. We're 6 months in.
Wendy, I have a question for you. So I'm going to pivot a little back to the client here. There have to be some challenges when you're dealing with a client completely virtually. What are some of the ways, I would think that if you're sourcing a sofa for them, that you would want them to be able to sit in it, or that you want them to feel a certain material or something like that. Like how do you deal, like if you're working with a client completely virtually, how do you handle, what are some of the challenges that you see and how do you handle those?
We do get the question of, well, how can I sit in it? Where can I go? And we try to do is build relationships in the different areas that we work with showrooms. And of course, if we, send a client into a showroom, we work with that showroom to make that purchase rather than buying it, how we would have normally bought it, because we want to respect, that showroom's time and effort for accommodating our client. A lot of us in the industry buy wholesale and sell retail, you know what I mean? And so, but we also do work with showrooms and we'll buy just with their trade discount and sort of build those relationships. I think not just in this industry, but I've been saying, this for a long time, it's so valuable to have the relationships across the industry, not see people as competitors, but see people as allies and champions for you, because we're all going to get the different business that we're going to get based on, how that fits. We say that it's always about the right fit. And so I think it's really important to start, building connections with people in your industry that might have showrooms or product lines, or maybe you don't have an account with every single vendor, but you can connect with another designer who might, because you might just want one piece and maybe they have more information or a place that they can help. So I think there's a lot to be said for sort of joining forces in this virtual world with other designers and retailers and manufacturers and suppliers in other places, and then doing good on your part if they're helping you out to make sure that you reciprocate by utilizing that stream for those purchases. So that's been really helpful. Like I said, the other thing, we always send gifts. We send a lot of gifts to our clients to just keep reminding them, not just during the process, but after as well. Like we have this giant just gift list, and so it just keeps you always in front of them, and they can be little things. Again, we're able to buy things at wholesale, so you can buy a $12 candle that would normally retail for $40 and just remind people with a handwritten note. Or if we do send fabric swatches out, we always send like a little, it's just like another little touch that reminds them that they're so important to you because they're not seeing you all the time. So, I highly recommend getting sort of either gift service, or we implement one just here in our office where we just have like really beautiful boxes. We spend on the effort of the detail, even though the box might cost more than the gift, because when they get it and it's got a bow and it's handwritten and it has their fabric samples all nice, they're like, oh, they care about me and I can trust them because they have my best interest at heart, because they put all this attention to detail. So I think, again, building a network, showing that you care about, keeping them in mind, and I have like a person that's dedicated just to send, that's her whole main job, is like, she's the gift girl. She puts these gifts together. There's a template on how to do it. So it's super consistent, super branded. So anything we need to send them, it's sometimes they get just a gift. Sometimes they get their swatches with their gift, or whatever it is. And, it just makes that extra touch too. And I think that really helps on the client side. With all the, sort of forget about they don't know about the mess in the background, but forget that their invoice is like 2 weeks late or whatever it is, or it's like twice the amount it was supposed to be because they eat an invoice on time. So that's some of the things we do. I do have a comment on the team thing. One of the features that we use a lot now, and I don't know if this is something that could eventually get incorporated in, I haven't seen Style Row yet, so I'm definitely gonna go check it out after this call, but is video communication. So we use an app called Marco Polo a ton. And I use it. I have a stand everywhere, like in my back, to communicate with my team, because it's so much easier to get your point across than a text or an email. And I personally despise email. I think email is a thing of the past. I think, the workflow software is the way of the future, but also I look at my workflow software sometimes and I'm like my eyes just start, I'm just kind of like,
what am I supposed to do?
I'm like, I see the list. I'm marketing, sales. I also own, real estate development and a human wellness, company. And so I look at that and I go, what? So Marco Polo or video communication, I don't know. That would be so good that could get integrated with Style Row, or
check it out.
Yeah, because Kajabi is a way we just started using onboarding. And again, it's videos. I can quick record a 10-minute video to onboard somebody on what our company culture is, welcome them, and it can just be used over and over again. But the Marco Polo app, it's been super great because I can leave someone a voice message. They can listen to it whenever it's their work hours, because our work hours, we don't have a 9 to 5. I let people work whenever they want, as long as they can commit to the meetings, and as long as the clients come first and deadlines get met, we're in different time zones, so
right.
That's been a really great tool. So I just wanted to share that because I wish that I would have learned about it sooner.
Tana, what work, I'm being asked what workflow software you're using.
MyDoma.
Okay, MyDoma, okay. And then and what do you find out, since you've switched over to this work, the Live Easy, the virtual side, what are some of the challenges that you found with your clients? And also, what are some of the things that your clients really like about working virtually rather than working one-on-one?
Sure. So I guess quickly to address the challenge that we hopefully have overcome is that initial, what I was talking about earlier, is how to make sure we instill trust and we build that face-to-face. And everything that the two of you are talking about, Wendy and Erin, I love, so I'm going to check out everything as well. I Zoom and I Loom, I mean, as of right now, as far as video. But that was, I guess, the challenge. And I don't know, it was more of an opportunity, I should say. So we've turtled that. And now what I'm finding is clients are getting used to a little bit of what Erin was saying too, not getting used to, but are demanding, immediate gratification. So they like that they can have something virtually to open and close when they want. If I'm sending a conceptual design rendering, they can go through and look. I send in the Loom video along with that, which now I'll probably enhance now that I'm listening to you, but I'll send that with so they can look at their leisure. And then what they really liked about these renderings is that they're shoppable. So that's another arm that we've added to our site, is a shop that's actually the shoppable items, so that once they get the render, they can also shop it. And we're finding that now we're changing this all the time. We just changed some of our shoppable packages that will launch tomorrow that are decor bundles. So now they can just, once they start engaging with us virtually, they can visit our website at any time and go to a decor bundle that is already curated in different type of stylistic natures. We have coastal, modern farmhouse, etc., and pick those up. And so that's also been a really nice passive income during this time, and a benefit that's kind of jumped out of this virtual engagement.
That's great. And Wendy, actually, we'll go to Erin. Have you found any passive income opportunities through everything that you're doing with the virtual side?
Well, I've been so focused on, we've got a team of 30 on Style Row, both engineers and on the team side. So we've been building that tremendously. I have separately, though, created a line of design courses that I hope it will be my future kind of passive income, because all of these things take an incredible amount of work to get set up and to create, to be able to sell more in the future. So for me, it was about scaling my own knowledge, right? And kind of like Wendy's doing, I think, a Kajabi, for her team, leaving, instead of writing up a hat or a training on something, is to do it in video. I've done the same with design, both for remodeling, kitchens, bathrooms, how to deal with contractors. I mean, we spent probably 6 months of last year creating 32 video courses for people that are not going to hire me or us. They're going to do it themselves. And so how do I take, 30 years of design and construction knowledge and put it into a place where, instead of selling it one-to-one, which is what we typically do, I could sell one-to-many and scale that knowledge. So that's what I've created. It's at erinbdesign.com. And so we've started doing that. Yeah.
Wendy, are you doing any of that too? I know you use all of these tools to keep your staff together and make sure that everybody's trained. Are you taking any of that training online and creating passive income with it?
Yeah, so I would say more to what Erin said. I have been working more on expansion of my brand and building out sort of just more quickly the goals. And so I did just finish a book that combines mental health and design and the principles of because I have also a wellness travel company, so I'm sort of started bridging those brands together for how, you get the life you design. And so we finished that book, and we do plan to expand on it with courses and sort of, just again, more of an expansion, not necessarily passive income during COVID, but sort of acting, just moving faster on things and implementing things. And definitely, again, I'm a big proponent for the video, future of video, both to the client, to business, or to as coaching, as courses, and then of course working on my signature talk for a TED Talk. And so I have been working on those things, but I wouldn't say that they've been currently, passive income items. It's just been more focus on expansion. And so that's really what we've been focused on, and bridging sort of our different brands together to have more of a lifestyle for living well and, designing your own life, and sort of also, again, hoping to put out education based on our experiences and knowledge that could help you know, young up and coming or existing design companies continue to build and expand their business. You know, we like to talk about that being sort of like a force for good. And so that's sort of like the expansion tool that we've sort of been implementing, showing people how they can do good and make a profit at the same time. So those are some of the initiatives that we've been working on and in our expansion to work towards passive income.
Right. So one of the other things, obviously, if you're doing so much virtually and everything is over, you know, is online through Zoom, through email, through whatever programs that you're using, one of the things that is a really, I would imagine, is your calling card. And the most important tool you have in your arsenal is your website, right? So I know, Tana, that you went through some big changes with your website as well in before you moved to this virtual design style side of things. Talk a little bit about what you need on your website. What's the most important things on your website so that you can connect with those clients virtually, and they know that that what you're going to provide for them is going to be top notch.
Sure. So I'm not sure if we can do plugs or not, but I want to because they're so great. So I'm on the board of directors for Interior Design Society, and we had a new member join, Home Designer Marketing, and they were offering some wonderful things to our members. And so I thought, oh, I'll check them out. I have never looked back. So if you're not working with a marketing group, you have to check them out. They are fantastic. What has happened with, I'll just do a quick little infomercial and then I'll move on, with Ashley at Home Designer Marketing is she no longer, it's not a client relationship anymore. It's an extension of my business. So I feel like when we have these war room meetings once a month, we're like employees. We're like coworkers. She knows some of my clients better than I do. So it's just been really fantastic. So with that said, when we put together the website, it was a complete overhaul. So we went from dull, drab to engaging and something that someone wants to visit and stay on. So with that said, I wanted to make sure that it was clean and precise. We have engagement with our shop, our quizzes, all those types of things that keep it fun and engaging, but we also have the data. So we have a robust portfolio. We have our color branding. She's done all of that through everything that I use. So I hope that kind of gives you an idea. I'm looking up and looking at my website. Yeah.
Okay. Erin, how about for you? As you developed Stylo and as you've gone on to this more virtual, what are some of the things that you've needed to address in your marketing and your website so that people know that you have all of this capability? And can Stylo help? Can Stylo help with that?
So I think that, and I've lectured around the country on this for a while now, but I really think that Instagram is more important than your website these days. It's the first place people are going to go look for you and look at your work. And if they like what they see there, then they're going to go to your website. I think that, again, if you look at shopping habits, mobile shopping is on the rise, and Instagram, right? And so that is just going to continue. And I mean, I see parents, friends will be like, let me show you my kids. And they go to their Instagram. They used to open up their wallet and pull out photos, right? That's over. So I think your Instagram needs to be your #1 calling card for what you are trying to sell. If it's your design services, I mean, I have multiple Instagrams for each different kind of level of business, and make it really clean and clear with what you're putting out there, what you're selling, and what you want your future customer to receive from you, talking about the levels of your service, not just sharing pretty things, but maybe sharing what you did to change that room. I mean, especially with carousels, you can show the before, you can show the after, you can talk about your thought process, because that's what potential customers want to start to engage and to understand what makes you as a designer special, what you did. And I think the clearer that vision can be on your Instagram, and then when they go to your website, they can obviously explore it in greater detail. But I think if you were to probably look at, how many views you get on Instagram versus your website, it's going to be like Instagram and site. But digital marketing is super important, however you're doing it. Email marketing is massive. I've always relied on a database, even before I had these other businesses, to create beautiful newsletters and send them out to my clients. Whatever that engagement is to keep in front of them. I would share projects with everyone I know, my friends, my business associates, etc., so that I was constantly putting out there hey, don't forget about our design firm, because I know that my referrals is how I get business. And so you need to stay relevant and stay in front of them. Obviously, you know, these days being able to boost a post on Facebook or on Instagram, I mean, I think that's the type of thing that most designers don't even think to do. But for a few dollars, you can be getting in front of your target customer. You know, I mean, it's that they're all on Facebook and Instagram. So why aren't we, if you're not, like, why aren't you spending a couple $100 a month even, or a week on finding the right audience? And I think, you know, especially with e-design services, it becomes even more of a direct correlation. But we do that for the brands in our marketplace for Style Row. We're putting tools in designers' hands for them to do their business, share with clients. But in terms of the marketplace side of our business, you know, we have 10,000 products in our marketplace. And so we are helping our brands digitally market to designers with emails, with podcasts, with conversations, with Instagram lives, with stories, with posts. I mean, it's like a layered and targeted approach. And I think every individual designer should be doing the same thing with their firms, you know?
Okay. And Wendy, same thing. So how are you, like what digital tools are you using? Is there anything special on your website that, or you know, that helps you to connect with your clients in that virtual way, especially since you like video as much as you do?
Yeah, I mean, I second the Instagram and the social media. I would highly recommend like creating marketing funnels and there's a site you can go to called Set Up My Ads. It's like a brilliant site. It teaches you all about creating your funnel, how to set up pixels to track who's going to your site. But definitely using something like a link tree in your Instagram, and that's your link in bio. That's sort of like the new way people will go to your website, because you can offer so many things in the link tree and send it, and they can click on the link tree and go to like 10 different sites rather than just going to your one site. And you can change the link tree all the time to like have whatever it is. Like if you're going to start coaching, you know, you could have like your coaching link tree and that goes directly to your coaching page. Like whatever it is that you really want to promote at that time, or what you're lacking in your different revenue streams, you can put that in your social media. It's just a lot. It's just a lot faster to drive people to your website. You know, we also found that engaging on Pinterest this year, I mean, we had Pinterest for years, but I didn't really particularly love it or use it. Nothing against Pinterest, I just didn't really get that into it. And so, but I recognize that people go there to find their ideas. And so we started being more active on Pinterest and started driving traffic to our site through Pinterest. So I don't think, you know, people aren't ever going, I want to look for a designer, and they're Googling who's the best designer, right? They're getting a referral. But, you know, if they come across the things and you're intentionally targeting who you want to target and putting out quick ways for them to find you through Instagram or YouTube. We recently did launch a YouTube channel, which we are working at creating sort of some branded content that adds value, not just, again, like Erin said, look at how great my design work is. It's more like they want to know, what can you do for them? And they want to know it instantly. And then they might go to your site. But I definitely think the investment in time in creating funnels and ads, you know, you have to test them out. What works for you, it's different for everybody. And we're constantly trying new things. Some things, you know, don't really work that well. Facebook for us is not we don't get a lot of traffic from Facebook. Instagram we do. Again, I work with a lot of developers, so LinkedIn for me is big. And then the other thing that I think doesn't get utilized enough, or smaller design firms don't do enough, is press, like offering content, giving articles for free, like whatever ideas you have, just give it to editor, just give it away, because, you know, it's just showing, you know, your expertise or your background, or what you excel in your space and design. So those are some of the things that we continually do and are always looking for ways to grow in getting our clients to come back to or getting future hopefully clients, or converting people to our website. But we don't start with like, go look at our website. We start with like tagging things, you know, resharing other people's things, you know, tagging vendors is, you know, if you're not tagging vendors in your posts, shame on you. You should be doing that, because they'll repost you, you know. So yeah.
Okay. And that brings us to our next question too. And by the way, if anybody in our audience has questions, you can put them in the Q&A. in the Q&A or the chat panel, and we'll ask them in a couple of minutes. But Tana, I'm going to start with you on this one because you know, it's really, really important to connect with your clients, but especially in this time of COVID where we're not having markets the way we normally have markets, and or we can't get to markets. How are you staying connected with your vendors virtually, or how are you finding the resources that you need so that you can design for your customers? And also, what about like tradespeople that you need, somebody to go in and paint walls or somebody to go in and redo a kitchen? How are you connecting with those people and letting your clients know that you stand behind those relationships? How do you build them, and how do you let your clients know that they're important?
Okay, let's see. A couple different ways. One is with the sourcing and staying in contact and trying to streamline. One thing that we did do is we engaged with the company source that does all of that for us. So that's been really fantastic. And then they merged and integrated with Mydoma. So that made it really nice to engage with the workflow software. That's been fantastic. Material Bank and some other companies we've also brought on to have ease with immediate sample requests and such, swatch and memos. And as far as the trades and such, and I guess I'll tie this into how am I also engaging with my potential customers too, is we started, and also to tag on some of the conversation that Erin Wendy was saying, if you don't mind, is we started during this COVID thinking we need to start reaching out more. And I love everything about social media, and I love all the platforms that we've discussed, and I really needed to build my database. So we focused on just that email marketing and trying to engage more with gaining more emails in our database. So on our website, in our shop page, that we do use the link tree and we have them travel to, we have all these attractive options. We have giveaways and favorite paint palettes and all these different things, which is actually an opt-in so that I can gain a few more email addresses. So we're staying in touch that way. And then once a month, they get our beautiful newsletter. They get engagement with what we're doing in the community, if it's a community service, if it's a trade event, if it's another project that we just completed, something. So we're trying to engage our clients that way, as well as just the community. And then how do I keep in contact with my trades? They are also wrapped into the workflow. Why can't I say that? Workflow software. They are also within that. So I keep all of my communication and contact within that system as well. So I'll stay in contact with them. If it's, you know, John's painting and I need just a quote maybe coming up, I'll send him a message through that. So I'm trying to do that as well through the software.
Okay. How about for you? How do you stay, like, you were talking about resources around the world, right? Like that you'll work with a retailer who can deliver a sofa or that type of thing. How do you build those relationships, and how do you see what's coming in the different categories, and so that you have the latest for your clients when it's hard to get out and see it in person?
I mean, I think the industry's done a really good job of doing a lot of the virtual panels like you're doing, but also showing a lot of the markets have went virtual. And so I think Google is is a really great friend of everyone. And so reading articles, reading what other people are putting, again, I use LinkedIn as a really a great source to see what business to business is doing. Doing a lot of reading, a lot of watching of, you know, other videos and other content of other vendors and what they're doing. I think they're just putting more and more content out there. So, you know, the other thing, you know, I just like to do is, and I did this before too, again, being virtual and traveling a lot, is just reaching out or setting up, you know, we were doing the virtual sort of lunch and learn, if you will, before. So just doing more of that and setting up Zoom meetings with vendors and saying, we're going to spend today doing product education, what's new, and reaching out to our vendors saying, what do you have? Like, do you want to be included in our day? And then just sort of dedicating, you know, a day a month, really, which doesn't seem like a lot, but you can pack a lot into it, and you can sort of segregate it, you know, or, you know, section it out so that it's like, we're learning all case goods this month, or, you know what I mean, what's new in the different categories. So that's sort of been our approach. That hadn't really changed much for us. That's sort of how we were doing it before. So.
Okay. And Erin, with Style Row, I know Style Row has the marketplace where you said you have 10,000 products. How are your designers using that, or how do you have that set up so that designers can see the latest? What is it that they're looking at, and how do they get like that full 360 view of a sofa or a chair, or, you know, those types of things? What are some of the tools that are in that marketplace that they can utilize?
Well, I mean, we really want Style Row's marketplace to be like the smartest sales rep that is accessible to you 24 hours a day, right? So finish guides, images, full configurations for product. So you can select the material for the table. Maybe the tabletop comes in 12 colors of marble. We have all of those there. You pick the marble that you want. Then maybe the base comes in 5 different metal finishes. You pick the metal finish you want, and it gives you a price. It gives you your DNET designer price. You have to be registered and approved member of the trade to access pricing. But instead of having to flip through a PDF price list or call a human and wait for them to get out the calculator and the price list, we've basically ingested all the standard pricing for these brands. So designers can configure their product, and then they can put it immediately in front of their client. You know, so all of the spec sheets, the tear sheets, the PDF finish guides, along with configurations, is what we've built into our marketplace, so that it really is, you know, just instant gratification for designers, and frankly, just save you tons of time sourcing product. Instead of logging into 100 different websites that are all password protected, you can log into Style Row, but then you save your favorites in your digital library, and now you can shop that. So to be able to put a design together, once you've saved product into your library on Style Row, it's like lightning fast. You literally go through and you're like, I need sofas, click, 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 whoop, they're in the project. You know, you don't have to go, God, I saw this great sofa, where was it? And go to 50 websites and scroll through their catalogs again. So it's that connectivity that is really the value of the tools that we built. And then we're adding, you know, 250 new items every day. So we're constantly adding new product and doing emails and marketing and all that good stuff so that designers can discover the latest. But I find, you know, we tend as an industry to just keep presenting the same stuff that we like. You might present 10 sofas to a client, they buy one. So what do you do with those other 9 for the next job? Like, you've already spent the time sourcing and understanding and learning and saving. So now you might as well put it in a place where you can quickly sell that one of those other sofas to your next project, right? And that's kind of the idea that we're building off of.
And when a vendor comes into to the Style Row marketplace, and when you're adding somebody new, what are some of the things that you ask for from them to make sure that that process out to the designer is pretty seamless? Are there certain things that you require?
Oh yeah, I mean, they have to send a huge list of data. How do you sell? Do you sell off the floor? Is it customizable? Where does it ship from? I mean, everything. It's a sales oriented website. You know, we want it to have all the answers, or at least a lot of the answers for designers, so that you can get back to work quickly. So, you know, the brands send us their, you know, finishes, their images, their configurations, as much data as they can give us, we put in there. We have video tours of some of our showrooms, because we have showroom profiles on there as well. So you can shop the showroom on Style Row. We can put in video. You know, we're going to be going more and more towards video content for our brands because it's easier to shop. But the showroom tours really help, because then you can see the bed in the distance, whatever, you see scale and all that. So yeah, brands give us a lot of information. We're basically their digital storefront, because most of them don't even have pricing on their own websites. I mean, it's ludicrous. It's as a furniture brand for Aaron V Furniture, we've had pricing on our website for 4 or 5 years, you know, and we were one of the first to do it. And still, out of maybe 60 manufacturers that our showrooms represent in each market, there's often only 2 to 3 brands that have pricing on their websites. I'm like, why are we making it so hard for our customers? You know, this is so ridiculous. So we require designer net pricing to be on Style Row. Like, if you won't give us pricing, like, it defeats the whole purpose. You know, it's about speeding up the boring side for designers so they can do more projects. Because if we can save our designers about 50% of their back office time, they're going to go get more projects, right? And then we all sell more product. It's a win-win-win. So that's our focus.
Okay. So one last lightning round question, because our hour is just about up, and I'm going to start with Tana. What would your one piece of advice be for another designer who's considering taking their business virtual, or adding a virtual? What?
I said, do it. It has expanded everything that I thought I was as a designer, honestly. I didn't think this would be something that I was interested in, or it was in my wheelhouse, and it has brought us new communication. It has reached out to people like Erin and Wendy and you, Diane. I have met people all in various chat rooms and sites and all of this because of the virtual arm. So I definitely would recommend it highly. And the return has been tenfold. So the virtual clients now, I've had referrals locally. Oh, my aunt lives in Bellevue, which is an hour and a half from me. Or, you know, it's been fantastic. So I'd say do it.
Okay, do it. Wendy, what would your advice be to somebody who's considering adding virtual elements to their design business or going virtual totally?
I mean, I'm a big advocate, obviously. As I've mentioned many times, you know, you get the life you design, as well as, you know, being in the design world. And so that's really, really important. And you get to live a much more free life by being able to take your work with you anywhere. So I think the faster and sooner you can jump on board, I think the better your business will be, the faster you'll grow, the more connections you'll make, the more opportunity you'll see, because there's so much more opportunity when you can free up your time, and there's so much less overhead when you don't have to go to an office every day. So
that's wonderful. And Erin, what would your one piece of advice be?
Yeah, just I would say stop doing things that waste your time. No matter what it is. Driving in the car to a meeting, total waste of time, right? We've kind of stopped doing a lot of that and people are more productive, but I think take a hard look at like your old habits and what you can really do. It might, you know, nobody likes to change the way they do things because it's easy and comfortable, but I mean, you hear Wendy, you hear Tana talking about so many things that they've done. That takes an investment of time, but then the savings is incredible. And I think that that's the biggest thing, is take a hard look at what you're doing every day and where you're really spending your time, and figure out a better system that's going to serve you, so that because I hear designers saying all the time that's the number one thing they don't have enough of is time, and it's the one thing we can't get back once we've spent it. So I think figuring out how you can do what you need to do as efficiently as possible is should always be everyone's number one goal.
And that's wonderful. I mean, this has been a phenomenal panel. Thank you, ladies, so much. It's just everything you've talked about has been so important. And I do have one last question about speccing for international projects, but I think we'll answer that one offline. I think maybe Wendy, I'll reach out to you for that, because you were talking about that a little bit before. So I will certainly get that answer to you, Maria, just so you know. But I really wanted to thank you all again. That's Tana Edler, Wendy Yates, and Erin Valencich, for taking the time out of your busy days. I don't know when you guys sleep, to chat with us about being virtual. It's really, really important. It was a great discussion. And I'd also like to thank once again, our sponsors, Temple Furniture, Crestview Collection, and International Market Centers. Everybody, thank you so much. And I look forward to doing this again with you guys soon.
Thanks, Diane.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you so much.